This year, boxing fans would have witnessed the biggest and possibly most entertaining heavyweight fight of the modern era. Anthony Joshua is more than ready to fight Tyson Fury soon. In fact, he wants it now more than ever to avoid a situation like Floyd Mayweather's fight with Manny Pacquiao. Here's what we know about Anthony Joshua comparing his fight with Fury to Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. To start with, they were this close to a fight. The fight between Joshua and Fury has been a conversation for a really long time. This summer, the British heavyweight was supposed to fight his rival finally, but then the fight fell through, and Fury had to fight Deontay Wilder instead. Joshua said on Sunday that he would sign the contract to fight Fury after the WBC champion gave him an ultimatum if they wanted to have their all-British heavyweight fight this year. But apparently, even though Tyson had given 2 deadlines, something went wrong with Joshua's legal team, and the contract wasn't signed. Anthony is still pretty hyped about the fight, though, and he was pretty upset when the fight didn't come through. But more than that, what we don't want is for them to end up like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. Both Tyson and Anthony hold all of the belts in the blue ribbon division, so any fight between them would be a big deal. What we've heard from the Daily Mail is that the talks are still happening. This doesn't mean the end. The politics within boxing can honestly be pretty intense. Anthony has promised to fight Tyson Fury before his career officially comes to an end. Coming up, mistakes won't be made twice. The thing that went wrong with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao is that they didn't even fight until they had long gone past their primes. Even then, it was a superstar fight. Anthony is confident that he and Tyson are different. They're both street fighters who started out in the UK's amateur system, and since then, they've literally been on fire. Basically, age isn't a thing with them, and the whole politics of boxing won't really get in the way either. Anthony is ready to fight in Britain, or at Wembley, Tottenham, the O2, or even York Hall. The location won't be a problem, since they're both from the UK. The thing is, this battle isn't supposed to be a grand one for the world to see. It's just a fight between 2 guys who first met in Finchley, ABC. They've started from the bottom, and now they're ready to end it at the top. What's more, there are some other fish to fry. Right now, Joshua will have to defend his unified title against Alexander Usyk at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next weekend, and this will be a tough fight. Even though Joshua has been busy with Tyson for a bit, he keeps his mind on the task at hand, which is to beat Usyk. For him, this fight is like brain fatigue. He really seems to love the challenge Usyk brings. Usyk, for sure, is a talented guy who's done pretty well in the past. He puts in a lot of work and gets things done. He also comes from a long line of great boxers, including Vladimir, Vitaly, Vasyl Klitschko, and Vasyl Lomachenko. At this point, Anthony wishes the fight would come soon because he's tired of waiting and camping for so long. The only reason he's been holding out for so long is that he's a specialist who cares a lot about the cause. He just likes fighting. But even though Usyk makes a fun opponent, Joshua is still pretty upset about the fact that the fight with Fury was called off. And if he loses, things might change because his contract includes the Andy Ruiz clause for a rematch. Chris Eubank Jr., on the other hand, seems to think that Joshua will be too strong for Usyk and will move on to fight Fury. Finally, maybe it's too late. People, especially in the UK, have been looking forward to a fight between Fury and Joshua for a long time, but it's lost some of its appeal in recent years. In the end, Fury's only big fight left is to unify the heavyweight title against Alexander Usyk. Any fight before that would be a kind of warm-up for him. Joshua seems to be going in the opposite direction from Fury, who has a record of 32-0-1, has beaten Deontay Wilder twice, and is becoming a bigger star by making appearances for WWE. Joshua was once the talk of British boxing, with a 22-0 record and multiple world titles, but a shocking loss to Andy Ruiz Jr. in 2019 changed the course of his career. He fought Ruiz again and won back the WBA Super, IBF, WBO, and IBO heavyweight titles, but he's since lost 2 fights to Usyk by unanimous decision and split decision. Joshua vs. Fury would still be very interesting, but it looks like Fury vs. Usyk will be the big money fight now. By winning a fight this year, Fury seems to be setting himself up to be ready for that fight next year. The way Fury sees it is that he's given Joshua plenty of chances for a fight, and he's missed every single one of them. So if things don't escalate quickly, this rivalry may actually fizzle out the way Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather did. And now, for some other related news you might have missed out on. First up, Tyson Fury keeps adding salt to Anthony Joshua's wounds. Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk's second fight was definitely one to remember. Both fighters fought hard, and the fight was close, but Usyk won by a split decision. What happened after Usyk's win, though, was that Joshua gave an embarrassing post-fight speech in which he tried to explain why he lost, and boy, his speech got a lot of negative feedback. On top of this, when WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury came out to talk about the fight, he just made things worse. As soon as the fight was over, Fury went on Instagram to criticize both Joshua and Usyk for how they handled it. He said that this heavyweight title fight was the worst he had ever seen. He even said they were both such bad fighters that he could easily take on both of them on the same night. It looks like neither man has impressed Fury, and he seems to think he could easily beat them both. But he'll now be looking at Usyk to finally get a match to unify the titles. Up next, Saul Alvarez predicts what will happen in Tyson Fury vs. Alexander Usyk fight. A lot of people want Alexander Usyk to fight Tyson Fury after his recent win over Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia. If they were to fight, it would be one of the biggest fights in the history of the sport. Frank Warren, who works for Fury, recently said that a fight between Fury and Usyk could be the World Cup of boxing. It's safe to say that many other athletes are looking forward to seeing the two heavyweights fight. One other boxer who's excited is Saul Canelo Alvarez, and he's one of the best in the world at his weight class. The undisputed super middleweight champion has already said what he thinks will happen in a fight. He's openly said that Usyk is a good fighter who has a lot of skills, but Fury is a man who has everything. In the end, it'll be hard for Usyk to win against Fury. After his victory over Dillian Whyte at Wembley in April, Fury said he was done with boxing, but he's making a comeback and he's ready. Fury, on the other hand, isn't worried about Usyk at all. He thinks Usyk is just another middleweight who's just pumped up. Now, though, it looks like Fury will go back on what he said and make a much-anticipated return to the ring. Finally, with Anthony Joshua out of the picture, Tyson Fury sends contracts to two new opponents. Eddie Hearn says that the heavyweight champion, Tyson Fury, has sent contracts to Manuel Charr and Derek Chisora. The fight between Fury and Joshua was in the works, but right now, it's sort of come to a stop. It seems like Joshua may be stalling. On December 3rd, Fury told Joshua that he wanted to come out of retirement. He did this even though he had lost his last two fights to Alexander Usyk. While Joshua agreed to Fury's terms, he still missed a deadline to sign a contract, and it looked like the fight was off. But then Fury changed his mind and said that his promoter, Frank Warren, had talked him into extending the deadline for the fight to be finalized. Eddie Hearn, who works for Joshua, has since told Fury how upset he is that he set an impossible deadline for signing the contract for the fight. The boss of Matchroom Boxing says that Fury has sent contracts to both Charr and Chisora for the December date at the Principality. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Anthony Joshua comparing his fight with Tyson to Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather? Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.